What's up, everybody? We back with another message, another video. Thank you to all my new subscribers and future new subscribers. You know we do nothing here without God because everything is spiritually led by God over here. We cover the world from a spiritual and physical aspect to get the raw, real, and uncut answers. So anything you hear, anything you see in these end times, may you test the spirits, aka take the words and visuals back to prayer with God, as there are many Decepticons running around in these end times sent from the enemy, had a strong, close, and personal relationship with God. Good, great, and awesome. All right, everybody, so I want to give y'all a quick conversación. I haven't said that in a while. Had to throw that out there for those that know what I be talking about. On a good old May 3rd, 2024 on a Friday, I want to talk to y'all about the phrase activating spiritual gifts. What that does is that brings people the understanding that is not true at all, that we have the ability to activate things when we feel like it. The control is in God's hands, ladies and gentlemen. We don't decide who we are or what we are sent to be, nor do we decide when we receive something later on in our lives. Not what the Lord has sent us here for or ordained us to be, but later on, what other gifts the Lord decides to give us and that we can be responsible with, right? So let me just read something to y'all, because this is not hocus pocus 101. You know, a lot of people tell you, activate third eye for dreams and this and that, but the flesh is contrary to the spirit, and that pineal gland is basically the flesh. So it's a deceptive way for the enemy to get you into witchcraft and operate illegally in the spirit, because you're so eager to do things and have spiritual gifts, and you got to be careful. You need to learn how to follow the process with the Lord. I didn't tap on my forehead like I'm an Autobot and activate things. I had to trust the Lord / faith, have that in the Lord, and follow the process on what he knew I could handle. We don't rush that, okay? So I do want to read scripture, because this is not hocus pocus 101. If that's the class you're looking for, you're in the wrong one. We don't do that here, all right? That's illegal. Witchcraft. 1 Corinthians 12, 4-11. There are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are differences of ministries, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of activities, but it is the same God who works all in all. The power comes from God, right? We got to let God decide. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each one for the profit of all. For to one is given the word of wisdom through the Spirit, to another the word of knowledge through the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healings by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits. So also discerning of spirits is a gift, you know, for the people that call out things and false teachers. That's a gift as well, to discern what spirit is behind somebody, more so. Testing those spirits in more detail with the Lord. To another, different kinds of tongues. To another, the interpretation of tongues. So don't feel bad if you don't have all these different types of tongues. You know, it's a spiritual gift. But one and the same Spirit works all these things, distributing to each one individually as he wills. Do you understand? But one and the same Spirit works all these things, distributing to each one individually as he wills. Ain't no tapping on your forehead like an Autobot in Hocus Pocus 101. Teaching about no third eye so you can start hearing from the Lord. That's illegal. That's witchcraft. That it does not come from the power of God. I did none of that to get to where I am. I just trusted in the Lord, had faith. So paying these thousands and thousands of dollars to be prophetic when you ain't even a prophet. Some people go to try to be prophets. You don't decide that. And if you really smart, you ain't gonna ask to be one, because this ain't no easy thing. No, I'm just playing. You should want to be anything the Lord calls you to be, but it ain't no joke out here in these parts. I just pray more people understand that. You don't have control. You don't get to control who you heal. You don't get to control none of it. It's all from the Lord. The Lord tells me what to do and when to do it. The timing, everything comes from the Lord, you know? 1 Corinthians 12:28-31. And God has appointed these in the church: first apostles, second prophets, third teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healings, helps, administrations, varieties of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Are all workers of miracles? Do all have gifts of healings? Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? But earnestly desire the best gifts. And yet I show you a more excellent way. So, it's broken up. And God appoints who is who, not your pastor or your preacher or who deem themselves prophets. They don't tell you what you are. The Lord can tell them through, the person who you are. But you got to test the spirits. You got to ask God. Okay? Like Jeremiah, the scripture in Jeremiah, it says, I ordained you to be a prophet among the nations. Before birth, he was given something, right? But gifts also come later in life too. So people stop going to Hocus Pocus 101, trying to activate things, trying to hurry up and move, because it's only up to God. Does he decide when you do something? Samuel didn't press on his forehead and go to these spiritual classes to figure out how to hear, try to activate hearing from the Lord more so. It just happened when it was the time. Eli was there to help him, but it just happened when it was the time. Moses had lowered himself from that lavish lifestyle. Then, the Lord just started to give him the indicators of who he was and spoke to him. He didn't press no button on his forehead. You know what I'm saying? It just, these people are trying to get money out of y'all, and they're trying to, because they're deceptive, the enemy's working through these people to have you operate illegal in the spirit. And so, when it comes to even my spiritual encounters and dreams, I don't control what I dream about. I don't control angels coming to pay me a visit as strangers who can be humans, or in general in the spiritual aspect. I don't control that. I've been asked questions like that. I don't have control over that. That's a false teaching of I get to control what happens. I don't have control. The control is never yours. I don't go and try to just heal somebody. Do you understand me? I have to follow instructions from the one in charge. It don't work like that. You don't get to just have control over what you're doing. And if you're trying to have control, that's where you're moving illegally. That them witches, you know what they do? They astral project. They try to have control. They learn how to move and leave out their body. That's illegal. If God is not pulling you out of your own body from a spiritual encounter, like, John going to heaven, more so from a spiritual encounter and revelation, and, everybody's seeing all these spiritual things like the seraphim and so forth. And dreams are spiritual. God controls that, not you. But when witches and warlocks start astral projecting, it's illegal. So when you start talking about third eye and trying to have control and activating, and this is how you have dreams, and people will implant dreams in your head. It's satanic and it's demonic. You have to stay in your lane, in your place, sit down and follow the process, because these people will put you in illegal situations that you don't need to be in. Patience is why God teaches patience, because impatience leads you to the wrong things. Come on now. But that's it. This went on for too long. This is not Hocus Pocus 101. This is called having faith and trust and patience. Come on now. Peace and blessings, and I will catch y'all in the next one.